over the weekend, they released South Park joining the Panderverse, and it unleashed a tidal wave of commentary on the internet because it reignited the discussion about Kathleen Kennedy, about diversity hires, Lucasfilm, Disney, all of these things. And one of the people who's decided to comment on this was Gina Carano, who was famously let go from Lucasfilm and Disney because of her stance on pronouns being put in the bio and a whole bunch of other stuff. And she had a lot to say on this, and it was kind of joyous to watch because it did feel to me in a way like I was being transported back to like 2019, like 2018, 2019 into 2020. Yeah, it was like, I mean, her stuff was a little bit later than that, was into 2020, but it just felt very like I was being thrown backwards in time, and it was like Geeks and Gamers in the early days and all this stuff. I have a hard time with a lot of the Disney stuff and the Lucasfilm stuff. I just find that there are a lot of people that cover it very, very well. And the movies, I don't care about Marvel these days. We're going to see the Marvels, but as a whole, Marvels and Star Wars, they don't fill me with any type of excitement. They fill me with dread because I don't care enough to want to continue to go on about something when the discussion is kind of devolved into this very much a back and forth between both sides. And for me personally, I'd rather leave it to the people who have covered it very, very well from the beginning. They do a great job. But Gina Carano had a lot to say, and I think we should go through it because what was her initial post? It was right here.
Well, this guy, Pete Fletzer, who runs the Around the Galaxy podcast, screenshotted her original post. Here's what it said. This is the part where Kathleen Kennedy demands any YouTubers get censored off of YouTube for sharing and laughing at this hilarious episode. She'll have YouTube disable the thumbs down option because of the ratio she'll receive. Then she'll have her publicist ghouls make sure Variety and Hollywood Reporter run hit pieces about the South Park creators and their families, smearing their names through every useful idiot she has under her thumb who would sell their soul to work for Lucasfilm. She'll activate her online mob to repeat that the South Park creators are racist, bigot, transphobes, and demand the South Park creators publicly apologize by only using words she approves of. And finally, she'll demand they subject themselves to a re-education course of 45 people in the LGBTQ community Zoom call to sit there and listen to how badly they got their feelings hurt all over a little boop of a South Park episode. But maybe, just maybe, the jig is up. And
the boop part is the funniest part because it's a reference to the beep bop boop.
Pete Fletzer said, in case you were wondering, Gina Carano has lost her G-damned mind. And she really didn't appreciate this remark and came after him and Kathleen Kennedy, clapped back like a queen. You have to love it.
We should go through
this is like a whole novel of a post. So I don't know if we can cover all parts of it.
Let's go through it like a couple of paragraphs at a time.
Do you always call a woman crazy just because she has more firsthand experience than you and says something you don't like or understand? Bit misogynistic, don't you think?
That is kind of true too, because it's like they would discredit her right away and off the bat because they don't like what her opinion is on this, but who is going to have more firsthand experience given that she actually worked for the company?
Exactly. I think that this guy is rightfully called out as a Kathleen Kennedy Disney Star Wars yes man. She calls him a yes man because he is the pathetic onlooker just clapping like a seal for their repeated failures while their stock continues plummeting. And she was the one who actually had a part in it and had a stake in the way that this franchise did. And it's sort of like the way that the Mary Sue trashed Brett Cooper the other day, where they said that she's a failed actor and she couldn't make it in Hollywood, whereas this author of the article is a failed theater major calling other people failed actors. Yep. People who were in high-level productions, who actually did have success in those arenas. They're the ones like throwing Rotten Tomatoes at the people who actually did successful things and were ousted for doing nothing wrong. So she said, curious if your overlords pay you or do y'all just go ahead and shove your whole head straight up their ass for free? I'm guessing for free. Might want to come out for some fresh air. For some added context, not just for you, but for the people reading, one of the things your overlords asked me to do was unfollow certain accounts because they said bad things about Kathleen Kennedy. That was a huge red flag for me.
That's insane.
Which accounts are those?
I would love to know which accounts. Like, that's one of those things that I can't ever imagine that happening.
Probably YouTubers like Nerdrotic.
Yeah, right.
He's one of the people replying here, saluting
Drunk 3PO, like all these people who did, who clapped back early on and held Star Wars accountable for the fact that they were losing the fandom. And whether you agree with them or not, all the time on their takes, the numbers bear out that they're right? That the interest in Star Wars has been dwindling for years. They're not even getting I don't know if they're going to get movies made anytime soon. I know there's announcements all the time. They were saying that Sean Levi is going to have complete control of his next movie. But until I actually see a movie that gets done, I don't buy it. Right? There was going to be the Wonder Woman director was supposed to get her own. Patty Jenkins was supposed to get her own Star Wars movie. That fell through. Like I said, there's people that cover this extensively and all the time. But one thing that anybody can see is that the interest isn't there. The numbers in the streaming shows have gone down consistently. Yeah. Just the fact that Star Wars has moved from being a big picture movie property to something that seems to be dealt exclusively to Disney Plus proves that they're failing.
Mm-hmm. You're really speaking for the voice of everyone in the middle, because it's true. Not everyone hates Disney or even knows who Kathleen Kennedy is or knows who Bob Iger is. Yeah. But the lack of interest is palpable at this point, and it's all on them. And why are these unpaid shills out here being so proud of being foot soldiers for these executives who don't give a crap about them? Like this guy around the galaxy, Pete Fletcher, he's bragging about the fact that he's a shill and selling merch that says, woke up this morning and watched Star Wars. It says woke Star Wars. Use code SHILL15 for 15% off your order.
I'll never know.
Also, she's the Shillsbury Doughboy, the original shill, just shillin', and do you even shill, bro? All of these are t-shirts that this guy proudly sells on his merch store. Like, he's so serious, and she's calling him out for it. Like, you have your entire head up Kathleen Kennedy's ass. For free. Like, you're not even getting paid or incentivized to do it.
Another way to gauge whether this is real or not, or whether it's all in your head, is the fact that South Park made something at all. And South Park does criticize both sides in the special. Like, at the very end, they very much point out that, like, look, as bad as all this is, it's also, maybe just dunking on woke stuff all the time is kind of lame, too. They're very good at criticizing both sides of the equation.
I haven't watched it yet.
You have to watch it. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
But the point is that it's not fake. If it was fake, if it wasn't real, if it was all in the heads of these people, the box office would still be sky high. The TV shows would be doing record numbers. There would be no need to make a South Park special on something like this if it was all in someone's head. But these people want to bury their head in the sand and pretend as if everything's okay when it's clearly not. And that's an outsider's perspective looking in. I feel horrible for all of the people who, like, one of the things that I was telling somebody about recently was I I feel very blessed that all the things that I love were never important enough for them to try and co-opt and turn into something that it never was before, right? All the shows and stuff that I love just aren't, if they do get the redone treatment, it's going to be a decade from now, if not later. And even then it'll be scraping the bottom of the barrel, because most of the stuff that I loved wasn't franchises on the scale or the size of a Star Wars or Star Trek. So
less incentive to ruin them.
To ruin it, right? So
I'm going to skip ahead and continue here. One of the problems your overlords are having right now is they've made a lot of people completely stop caring about one of the most beloved franchises in history, all by bullying, pushing aggressive agendas, and trying to silence the people criticizing them. How are they able to tell stories they don't understand when the ones they identify with are the Empire? They are literally trying to squash the little guys, the rebellion. No wonder the storytelling is struggling. They fired and dehumanized people like me who did absolutely nothing wrong, all to virtue signal to people like you, the yes men. But yes men, unfortunately for you and them, do not drive culture. Maybe they were banking on the kids picking up the slack, but one of the best things about this franchise is passing it from generation to generation to share. The competition is too high to throw out something as valuable as that. Why would one generation pass it on when you've disrespected and thrown them away?
It also kind of goes back to that point that people have made before, that originally they bought Marvel, Disney bought Marvel and Lucasfilm because Star Wars and Marvel appealed to boys. They had the princess movies and the animated series to appeal to girls. That should have theoretically turned them into an unstoppable market force that literally did what they tried to do with these movies, which was appeal to everyone, just without pandering to everyone.
Really, they bought Marvel and they bought Star Wars and thought, how can we get these franchises that appeal to boys to appeal to girls and gays and theys? And then it ended up appealing to nobody.
Yeah, in those groups don't spend money on a large enough scale because there aren't enough of them to equal out what happens when you appeal to the target demographic that has proven to you that they're willing to spend money on the products you're making when you're making them well.
The only thing keeping Disney Star Wars afloat right now as a franchise is like Grogu plushies. There's really nothing else going for it other than like Grogu mugs that are sold at Home Goods.
Yeah,
nobody's actually watching this shit. Seriously.
The numbers for the last two series were both abysmal, and there's new announcements every day. And
people liked Andor, and that could have been seen as a good faith effort, but then you'd already lost everyone before you started.
Well, that's what they said about The Mandalorian, right?
The first season.
As disillusioned as everyone was with Star Wars at that time, like the fans want to come back. People want to come back. People have short memories when you give them something what they want. And I don't buy that you lose everyone forever all the time. I do believe that a lot of people, when you take a property like this that meant so much to so many people at ages when they were so easily influenced. So like when something means something to you that much, when you're a child, right? You want to give it the benefit of the doubt. You want to come back to it if you can. So it's not like you lose them and then you've lost them forever. Most of them are willing to give it another chance. I remember that when The Mandalorian season 1 came out. I'm like, everyone's just gonna pretend like the Rise of Skywalker and the Last Jedi didn't happen. Well, because they put CGI Luke on screen in the final however many minutes of the season. Oh, okay, like that was actually kind of disheartening to me because I'm like, look, they're
like begging for crumbs.
They can win you back at any point. All they have to do is pander just a little bit and then immediately pull it back out from under you.
That's probably what they thought they were doing with the Darth Vader lightsaber battle in Kenobi, and that was just awful, like dumpster fire material.
And all of this is ignoring the fact that they did try to make her go through a weird Zoom meeting struggle session with a bunch of people who would have been just there to control her and tear her down to make her fall in line and be compliant. She has probably sacrificed more than anyone in that industry for what she believes in. The money that she gave up, the hits to her credibility as the insane, absolutely categorically bonkers hit pieces were written about her because she put a couple of lines in her bio. And I still maintain that is maybe more than anything is the idea that people can guilt and pressure you into doing something. You will never be the bad guy by resisting somebody telling you that you have to do something because they're virtue signaling. That's insane.
Right.
Like
they act like this woman committed mass murder on
when they asked her to put pronouns in her bio, and she's like, look, it's maybe one of the most American things you can ever do is to be like, just because you're telling me to do it, I'm not doing it. F you. Right,
yeah. But like someone like Rachel Zegler is a well-behaved Disney foot soldier who has her pronouns in bio, unlike Gina Carano, is going to comply with all of these expectations and go beyond that even, clearly, to her detriment. And she's rewarded for it by the executives. I want to finish up a little bit of her post. They're choosing to stick with weak leadership who couldn't handle YouTubers saying mean things online when all it would have taken is a true leader to step in, take the reins, take responsibility, stop discriminating, apologize about the things they've done wrong, step completely out of politics, be truly inclusive, and they would be back in business. Until then, they're stuck with you, the yes men, and they're plummeting stock.
I don't even know if I buy that they need to apologize. I think just do different.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they don't need to apologize. Just
fix it.
Just fix it and move on.
Like, fix it and win back the majority of the public sentiment with good work. I don't think that, first of all, if they apologize, apologies without actual changes made will just get derision from people anyways. They're just going to tell you that you're full of shit. Like, people aren't going to buy it. So don't apologize with words, apologize with actions and make a better product. Again, that's very easy to ask of them. It's very difficult to actually put into effect when it's a corporation as large and as unwieldy as something like Disney, where thousands of decisions are made just to get one thing made.
I mean, really, where an apology might be due is from George Lucas for making the stupid decision to sell this to Disney in the first place. He even said that going to see The Force Awakens, right, is like going to an ex-wife's wedding.
Yeah.
That's telling, to say the least. He probably has his regrets. And his fans that, you know, brought that IP
donated the
to
money to
where
charity
it was.
too. Like,
yeah.
Like,
It's
I don't even know why. Like, why do it if you're not going to keep... Like,
I don't understand his motivations, and I wish that he would be more honest and open. It's not like he has a gag order on having opinions about Star Wars from now on.
I also don't think any of this stuff is fixable. Like, my attitude, the
fact that he gets to live to see his own
destroyed
property destroyed this way is even more tragic than if it were like a Tolkien situation.
Yeah.
Like, at least with Tolkien, he's in no way responsible for Amazon getting their dirty hands on The Lord of the Rings. But with George Lucas, I would just, if I were him, I would just be like crushed to watch this happen.
Make her gay.
Make it more lame.
Put a woman in it. Make her gay. I personally don't think that this can be fixed. I don't think without at least a decade of nothing coming out and a lot of time, I don't think that you can fix this problem.
I think the fact that it's, the fact that they can't handle YouTubers saying mean things tells you everything you need to know, that it's about them and their vanity, and it's not about their love of the storytelling or of the franchise or of the fan base.
Yeah.
It's really all about them and their egos.
Well, it's because Kathleen Kennedy found the Pander Stone in the archives of Disney, and she used it too much.
Don't give me spoilers. Don't spoil it for me.
It was very good. It's just, and that's the thing. Like, if people are willing to criticize you, even in the depths of mainstream Hollywood, that means that there's something there, and they need to accept that there's something there and something that can be fixed. But it does kind of break my heart to think about what Disney could be doing if they had done what they originally planned, which was keep the path, make your movies about princesses for the girls, make your animated movies skew towards the girls and the kids, and use your Star Wars and your Marvel to appeal to boys and the women who like that stuff. That doesn't mean it only appeals to boys. It means that women who also like some stuff that boys like can also like it too. It's like they refuse to admit that there's differences in the things we like, right? Because the traditional Disney princess will now be impossible to differentiate from the average Star Wars or Marvel character anyways, because they're all going to be the same type of generic girl bossery that we see. So what happened to vast changes in storyline? Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.